In order to gain an understanding of what makes an effective horror trailer, I watched existing trailers which were of the same genre and appealed to a similar target market as the product that I hope to make. The trailers I chose were very different in treatment and styling, which was considered purposefully as I wanted to gain information about conventions from a wide range of sources. Likewise, I also wanted to give myself some creative freedom when making my trailer, while using these codes and conventions to keep my trailer relevant. The trailers that I analysed were The Last Exorcism, 28 Days Later and Nightmare on Elm Street. These were longer trailers than what I was aiming for, as I was aiming for mine to be around a minute in length and these ranged up to 2 minutes 15 seconds. However, it was still possible to learn the codes and conventions through analysing these products. I learned that the trailers often started with a news reading or a police report providing background information. It was necessary for the audience to have an idea of the treatment, but as this was only a teaser trailer, not to give away too much information. This was most effective in the Last Exorcism trailer, and I based a direct report-style tone that I used in my trailer on this. The font used in the Last Exorcism trailer looked similar to the font used on old-fashioned typewriters, and I developed this by having the font typed across the page on a conventional black background with a white font. I used Bart's Enigma code in saying, "But she wasn't the same." This leaves the audience wondering what has happened to the girl. The music used over this didn't have a tune, but instead consisted of sounds to create ambience, such as disorientated, which left the audience feeling tense. I cut this as soon as the doorbell rang, to show the start of the equilibrium and return to the beginning of the treatment. I also attempted to shock the audience with this abrupt change, as the trailer goes from report of the death of 3 teenagers to these same teenagers arriving at a sleepover at the beginning of the treatment, alive and safe. I created my trailer using the program Final Cut and used the tools on these for different edits. In my trailer I used a cross dissolve, additional dissolve and the fade in fade out dissolves, as well as straight cuts. As a lot of filming was a lot darker than what I had hoped for, I used Final Cut to alter the levels to make the content more visible. I also had problems with sound clarity, however through Final Cut I was able to alter the volume to make the dialogue more coherent. Combining Photoshop and Final Cut also meant that I could put the same font used in my website and poster in the font on my trailer. This was useful as I wanted my promotional package to look like one credible product. To make the music for my trailer I used GarageBand to edit sounds. In order to find out what makes a teaser trailer popular with its target audience, I used a questionnaire and focus group to gain information. As my target market were teenagers aged 17 to 19, I found it most effective to reach them through Facebook, as teenagers typically spend a lot of time on social networking sites. Through the research, I learned that they wanted a general storyline to be revealed, and some information about the characters. The first draft of my trailer went straight to the disequilibrium, and therefore it was necessary to refilm to show the backstory and to gain an idea into the personalities of the characters. This took more time, however I'm pleased with the difference it made in appealing to the potential audience. The revealing of the start of the treatment were also used in the trailers I analysed, and therefore this is conventional. Through analysing these existing trailers, I found that they began with a green screen containing the marketing rights and information about the appropriate audience. Following this, the production company was shown as the institution. The institution companies used in The Last Exorcism and 28 Days Later and Nightmare on Elm Street were New Line Cinema and Lionsgate, and as I found that these were similar to Twisted Pictures, I researched Twisted Pictures on the internet and found that they were famous for the Source theories, which are iconic horror films, and used this in my trailer. I also found that they were mainly produced films of the horror genre, and therefore they seemed appropriate for my product. The clip was taken from YouTube, and although I initially wanted to use music over the marketing information, I found that this was not consistent with the trailers that I had analysed. I also found that horror trailers follow Todorow's theory of equilibrium, disequilibrium, and re-equilibrium. However, the re-equilibrium is not shown, so as not to give away the ending. All 3 of my trailers started with the equilibrium at the start of the trailer, setting up the potential for the disequilibrium in showing a conventionally isolated location, or the characters provoking or the villain, etc. I attempted to use this convention in my trailer. The film shot started with the characters' arrival at their friend's house for a sleepover. I used a bright, warming light which is typically associated with safety. I used a medium close-up for the majority of these shots, to allow the audience to relate to the characters. For these shots, the camera was the same height as eye level, so the audience were led to feel as if they were there with them. In all of the trailers I analysed, dialogue were used during the equilibrium in order to provide the audience with information about what leads to the disequilibrium. Therefore, I combined the use of my characters talking about performing a séance and the report at the start of my trailer to show the beginning of my treatment. I wanted to reveal some of my treatment without giving away too much, so I used the characters talking about the sleepover and the scepticism towards the idea of calling forth a spirit. I used an omniscient narration in my trailer, as the audience already knows that this will lead to 3 of the characters' deaths from the report. As the teenagers are shown drinking and laughing in safety, this references Bart's Enigma Code, as the audience is left wondering what would cause the death of 3 healthy-seeming teenagers. However, this use of narration was not consistent with my audience feedback, who said it would prefer a voice-over narration to dialogue. Through my analysis of existing media products, I learnt this was not conventional, and mainly dialogue was used. I did record some voice clips and attempt to use them in my trailer, however this was not appropriate for the style of my trailer, and they felt unnecessary.